If you're jumping into the world of YouTube, you may have some very specific things you want to do for your channel. And back when I started my channels, I did as well. But now I am not so picky about some of those things. And don't get me wrong, I'm actually really glad I was picky about them at the beginning of my career. It was really important for my success and my continued success that I did that. But also, some people can jump in and just kind of skip over some of those steps and still do really well. So let me break down what I'm no longer picky about so that you can decide for you whether you want to start off being more picky about it and then growing and changing, or if you want to just bypass that and kind of build on what you will eventually get to or potentially could get to. So we're gonna do some of these things here inside of this video. You are gonna see me do it, and we'll get to it. I want you to pay attention and see if you notice some of these things. The first of which, and I should point out, I have been doing this for well over a decade. This channel is not a decade old. However, I have been a public speaker, I have been a live streamer, I did webinars, I've done videos, tutorials, education for a really long time. I have channels and channels and channels that you don't know about. So I've had a lot of experience with this. The first thing that I was really picky about was that I had to wear a different outfit in every video so that it didn't look like I sat down and filmed everything on one day and then did nothing for a month. I was very, very adamant about changing my outfit in between each and every video. And so even though I was batch creating a lot of my content and filming it back to back to back, it looked like I was doing it on different days. I wanted to look intentional, like I was dedicating that time to create those pieces of content, which I was, but I was doing a lot of it all in one sitting and then spacing it out. Did I need to do that? No. Did it work to my benefit? Yes. And does it matter if you do it? No. You can decide to sit down and just knock out 5 different videos in the same sweater. That's fine, but people will know you did it. You can also make the effort to switch up your outfits or your hairstyle or the accessories that you're wearing so that it looks like it was on a different day. And that is going to allow you to show that you are dedicated to doing this in different ways and you are always constantly taking the time not just to show up, but to make the effort to show up in a presentable way. It does not matter which way you pick, it can be either and you can still be successful. The next thing that I was picky about was doing things in a single take. Did you see that I just cut this video? Because I did. But back when I started, I did everything in a single take because I hated jump cuts. To this day, I hate jump cuts because you can tell that the person did not know their content well enough to be able to have the conversation. And so I could sit down and have a 10-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute conversation without stopping my camera. And very, very little stumbling over my words. I would put notes under my camera until I learned how to get good at this, and I would have my bullet points so that I could just glance under my camera and get those notes. And then as I continued being a public speaker, I got better and better at just remembering what I was gonna talk about and being able to talk on the fly. So I could do this entire video without stopping, but I actually have notes. There are things that I wanna talk about, and I have educated and I continue to educate on changing your backgrounds, changing your location so that it looks intentional if you're going to cut it. But even if you're not going to make it look like an intentional choice, you can sit here and start and stop your camera and have those jump cuts. People will just know that you stopped the camera and started the camera again because you'll be in a different location. When I'm done with this section, you're gonna notice it's gonna jump a little bit. I might be in a slightly different location. I might have a different expression on my face because I stopped and I started. I stopped to look at my notes and I came back. Neither way is bad. You can do it in one single take. You can do it in multiple takes. You can do it with multiple backgrounds or locations so it looks intentional, or you can just start and stop where you are. As long as you're communicating the point, that is going to work to your benefit. Am I still biased against it? Yeah, I don't love how it looks when people do that. I don't love it. I do judge it a little bit, and you might as well. But as long as you're getting the point out, they're still gonna watch your content. Another thing that I was really picky about was how I shot my content, camera versus phone. Now I don't care. I film on anything. What do I have available to me? What's accessible to me? How do I film this to get that information out? That is my most important thing. So right now I'm filming on a phone. I'm filming on a phone, but I film on my camera. I filmed, if you've watched my past videos, sometimes I film on 2 cameras. I'm a professional photographer, so I have the high-end cameras. I've got the professional vlogging cameras. I've got all of the technology and I love it. And I use that to my advantage. So I film however I can, whenever I can, wherever I can, in the way that's going to work for me in the moment to communicate those points to people. So wherever, however you have to film, do it. If you have to film vertical on your phone, do it. If you are filming horizontal on your phone, do it. If you're filming with 2 vlogging cameras and you're editing those together, do it. If you're filming straight onto your professional photography camera, do it. It doesn't matter. As long as you have quality content and the stuff you're talking about is quality, you will be fine. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have fancy equipment. I used to feel like because I was a professional photographer and I had the fancy equipment, that I had to use the fancy equipment because phones just do not have the same quality as the other devices that I had. And you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I could haul all my gear up here and I could set it up and I could film in a bunch of different ways and edit it together and it could be glorious, but also I could set up my phone and I can have that conversation and transfer it to my computer right away. And now you've got content. So however you're going to film is going to work to your benefit. I am no longer picky on which device I use to film as long as it still looks quality. If it's like an old phone and it's pixelated and the audio is not good, then we get judgy about it. But as long as you have quality content where you can hear it and you can see it, film however you need to. Now this one was really important to me, and that was my thumbnail photos. I always took new thumbnail photos and I always made sure it was a custom, unique image for that thumbnail. I did not reuse them until about 2 months ago. And so it was really important to me to show that I was putting the time and effort into creating my content. I did not want to have the same thing because somebody might see the same pose, even if it was kind of a different background, and say, oh, I already saw that one. I wanted to make sure that I was really investing my time in my thumbnail, because your thumbnail on your videos is the most important thing. It is what people will click on or choose not to click on. And so thumbnails, I educate them on them. I'm one of the leading experts on thumbnails on YouTube. I would never reuse poses. I encouraged other people not to. If you had to, I got it, but I encourage you not to because it usually did not work to your benefit because people would see it and think they already saw it. And then about 2 months ago, I realized it didn't matter. I had so much content out, people weren't gonna remember my old thumbnails. When were those 2 videos, those 3 videos with the same pose gonna be near each other on my channel? I have literal hundreds upon hundreds of videos. And my life changed. The way that I am doing things has changed dramatically. I just adopted 2 puppies. I am very, very much in a different space than I was a few months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. And so now I do reuse it because I don't always have time to take new photos, or I don't bring my cameras up here. I always take them with cameras, never with my phones. And so there's a lot to it. And so I will reuse old things to save time and effort because I'm not connected to my external hard drives right now. I am working off of my kitchen table to make sure that I'm watching my puppies in a space where they can run and play while I'm doing things. And so my life's very different. I'm no longer picky about my thumbnail poses. And I do recommend that you mix it up as much as possible, that you are creating new content for it. But if you do not have the ability to, do what you gotta do. And another one that I was very picky about for the sake of my content was how I filmed background wise. I wanted to be consistent with my backgrounds. I did not want to be in a bunch of different locations. I didn't want one-offs in random locations. I wanted to make sure people could recognize my content simply by a 1-second screenshot of where I was. They recognized my background. And I started out for this channel with my bookshelves, and I had those for years. I still have them there downstairs. I'm just not filming in front of them right now. I changed my backgrounds. And when I started to change my backgrounds, I made sure I had different variations. So even when I was doing the bookshelves, I did it in different ways. So it looked a bit different and a bit unique every time, but they could still see the basic visuals and understand, oh, that's Cam's content. Even if they didn't see my face, if they saw my background, they would know what's up. So I was very consistent with my background, and now I don't feel like I have to be. Again, I have hundreds of videos. I feel like in the beginning of my career, it was really important to develop that consistency and recognizability. But now that I've got thousands upon thousands of views every day, I don't think it's that important to have super consistency with my backgrounds. Yes, I do as much as possible. I'll have things that you can recognize, things that are very clearly KM. But if I have to film a video in my car, so be it. If I have to film a video in a hotel room that I'm staying in, so be it. If I film a video, a one-off video outside with the beautiful outside background, so be it. That's just the way that it is. Now that I've developed my brand, I'm okay with it being a little more loosey-goosey and a little bit less of that consistency with how I'm shooting my content. If I want to try new things, if I want to spice it up and see if another format works, if I want to change how I'm editing or my backgrounds or the way that I'm speaking or the conversations I'm having or how much B-roll I'm putting into my content, I'm okay with testing it now because I am so developed and established inside of this industry. So I do recommend that you have consistency when you start out, because you're building a brand and recognizability. And then from there, you can start to branch out. Once you have that foundation and people know who you are, they show up, you have millions of views on your channel, thousands of people following you, all of those things that say that you're established and you know that you're good to try things, then by all means, try things. Okay. So with that in mind, there's lots of things that you can kind of skip over if you want, or things that you can lean into to build that brand. I do recommend being picky in the beginning. The pickier you are in the beginning, the better you're going to build your brand, the faster, the stronger, the more recognizable, but it doesn't mean that you have to. You can do whatever you need to do to make it work best for you and for your brand. So if you want to have that inconsistency, that is your consistency, isn't it? There's a lot of things that you can do, and if you've got questions, go ahead and drop those down below. We've got lots of tutorials on how to run your YouTube channel and how to thrive in this space, so we will answer those questions as quickly as possible. Go ahead and let us know what you need to know, and just keep in mind, you're building a brand, you're building that consistency and that recognizability, so be freaking picky if that is going to work for you in the beginning. Do not let anybody tell you otherwise. Be picky. And if you don't want to be picky, that's fine too, because it's your channel and you grow the way that you want to grow. Drop the questions. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.